the point being that, you know, we shouldn't be, as employers, we shouldn't be forced to be the tax collector. We shouldn't be forced to testify against ourselves. There's a lot of good reasons not to have that happen. But if you didn't change anything else except this and said, okay, every one of us has to send a check to the government to pay all the bills that are due every single month, believe me, this thing would come crashing down real fast. It wouldn't happen. People wouldn't put up with it. The wonderful thing is that we live in a great country. We lived in the richest and the freest country and the largest, most prosperous middle class. The bad news is that if we don't do something about it, it's going to say goodbye, you know. But the good news also is that the revolutionary spirit, the spirit of liberty is alive and well, and it's growing exponentially. Frequently, they'll tell us when you talk in these terms, and frequently they'll accuse me of saying, oh, you just want to go back to the dark ages. You want to go back to the gold standard, you know, commodity money, honest money. Why would you ever want to do that? Back to the old days of the Constitution. But guess what? Those who oppose us want us to go back to the old days of tyranny. Tyranny is a lot older than freedom. So it should not be difficult when the bankruptcy comes, and we're in the midst of it now, to make a wise choice. And that's what we're in the midst of doing, making the choice. Do we want to accept this whole idea that we need more government? Yesterday we had a committee hearing, you know, on the Federal Reserve, and I said, just how can you solve the problem of debt with more debt? And they believe they can. Keynesian liberal economics believe that when you're in trouble like this, you, the people, should spend money. We're in trouble because you won't spend money. I said, yeah, but what if they don't have a job and they maxed out on their credit cards? How are they going to spend more? Well, then we spend the money. The government's supposed to spend the money. If you don't have it, you print the money. They believe that. They believe that as sincerely as I believe in the free market and sound money. They believe it, but it's not working. And that's the failure is right on their doorstep. That is why our option of resuming our efforts to promote liberty is so important. We never had a perfect society, far from it. We never had a perfect gold standard. But what we ought to do is go and pick up the pieces. And it's going to take back about 100 years to pick up the pieces, because there's been things eroding for a long time, whether it's the foreign policy of intervention, the destruction of our currency, the income tax, the welfare state. But we need to go back and pick up what we were given. You know, if we got into so much trouble by having so many people totally ignoring the Constitution, if we didn't do anything else except make the people who represent us at least read the Constitution and force them to obey the Constitution. It has been said, Benjamin Franklin said, those who expect to reap the benefits of liberty must, like men, undergo the fatigue of supporting it. It's going to take a little bit of fatigue. But I don't like to use the word sacrifice. I don't believe that you have to sacrifice. I mean, there can be some tough times for some people. But if we wouldn't have bailed out, the banks would have had a tough time. They'd have had the depression instead of the people. If we can get the government to get out of our way and off our backs and out of our wallets and out of our personal lives, why should we call that a sacrifice? We should say, wow, we can work hard and keep what we earn. This would be an immediate effort to, you know, bring back growth again. So it isn't. It should be a wonderful time and not to something word. Like I mentioned World War II, it wasn't the disaster that they thought. We freed up the economy finally and got the government out of the business of trying to get out of the Depression. They just came back and the Depression ended. So freedom is in many ways miraculous on what it does. But to me, the real miracle is bringing people together, because, like I mentioned, freedom should bring us all together. One thing that we did wrong in this country is, and to some degree it still exists, that some people are mistreated because they belong to a group. And I can understand that. Certainly in the drug laws, there are people who are mistreated under the drug laws because they're punished in a certain way. But in the same breath, people shouldn't get special privileges because they belong to a group either. We have to see ourselves as individuals who are born with our right to our life and our liberty, and that we have a right of ownership, and that we should all come together for the same reason. That should bring us all together. It should bring us together when we need to cut back on our spending. We should agree that we don't need to be policemen of the world. We should agree that the endless entitlement system doesn't work. But these views have been well received on the campuses of the whole country. I am certainly very happy and very pleased with the reception here. There is still a campaign going on, and pay a lot of attention because they haven't counted all the delegates yet, and that's what we're trying to get them to do. Okay. 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 Let me now close by saying, an idea whose time has come cannot be stopped, and this idea, the time has come, and we will march on. Sometimes they can interfere and slow us up and deal with candidates, but ideas are different. And that is what's happening. That is what I see, and I'm experiencing, and I'm seeing it across the country. So be encouraged and have fun doing this, because to be despondent is being negative about freedom, and freedom is popular. Get out there and spread the message. It's in our own best interest. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here. Thank you. Appreciate you coming out.
Thank you so much for coming, Dr. Paul.
Oh, good.
You're an inspiration.
Love you, President Paul.
Hey, thank you. Good to see you. Nice to see you out here.
You saw my guys' membership?
I know.
My name's Ron, too, so thank you very much.
Hey, very good. Good to see you.
I agree with everything that you said. Everything.
Thank you.
Hey, can I get a picture with you, sir?
You do.
Dr. Paul.
Hey, good to see you.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm with you through the Flurries and record. Thank you for inspiring us.
Oh, well,
Can I get a picture with that in the Fed shirt?
Dr. Paul, can I get a picture with you?
Do it real quick. It's going to be a short visit. I have to.
Got it?
Dr. Paul?
Okay.
Dr. Paul, I've been reading your work since 2008. You're fantastic. Since I was junior in high school.
Oh, boy. Oh, wow. A new generation.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sorry, folks. Sorry for the rush, folks. Got around. Thank you.